passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on, so Nuoff in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. Doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani, not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haight deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varane to Aberdeen about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. It's now Pike going to have a go at Werrell. Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such up. He's touched on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Moving on to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's a lot to have fun. Yeah, it's all about the entertainment. So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching. And Burger King machines off into the grass a little bit there. Is that really bunching up now?
Put the power of Southern Shores Realty to work for you. With over 30 professionals in sales and rental management, Southern Shores Realty and I will get the job done right. I'm Rick Thompson, your Outer Banks real estate expert.
Call 261-2000.
Does he have it? Medeiros is going to get it. He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly, Miller's still such up. He's not on second range. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry!
So then, ladies and gentlemen, welcome finally to the ASRL GT4 round 11 at Iowa. Not the time that we are used to, has to be mentioned. A little bit later than normal, the stream. So it has to be said, this is not live, so we cannot go to any replays sadly today, but what we do have is some amazing racing at Iowa, and qualifying at the moment is already underway, and it is Rutherford at the top. No one out at the moment. So I'll have to wait for other drivers to get out there. But an amazing race here at Iowa is in front of us, and I'm excited to see what it has to bring for us. There's that checkered flag. Iowa, a very short track, 46.124 seconds. So expecting a lot of laps today. First thing out, of course, is race number 1. 20 minutes. Full blast for all the drivers. Before we go into race number 2. And that means 40 minutes of racing with a pit stop included in that. You can see Barney waving there in the middle of the screen, a little bit lower than in the middle. Barney waving frantically with the checkered flag. We have about 4 minutes left in qualifying. Every driver has got 2 laps, so everyone waiting till the last 2 minutes, seems like. Last time out, of course. A great race. No, but it's a little bit later, this one, than usually. No harm done, though. Still, the action will be as great as every time. So stick around for race number 1. This is going to be a spectacle. Since this track is so short, you can kind of wait till the last 2 minutes. It's also one of the reasons, I think, why we are not seeing any drivers out on track at the moment. No drivers setting a lap time. Three minutes left. Let's see where these drivers can get into. How are you all? How have you all been this week? Hope you're having a great day. Let me know how you've been in chat and how your day has been. Of course, for the Americans, some people still at work, some people just came off work. So let me know how you are. For me personally, it's been an exciting 3 days testing with the Next Gen Cup in real life, getting that underway finally. So excited to hear what you guys have been up to. If you haven't done so yet, subscribe to the JP Broadcasting YouTube channel. Leave a like on this stream. It helps push the stream out there and give these drivers a bit of a platform. So then moving into the race in about 1.5 minutes time. I don't think anyone else is out. This might have something to do with the fact that we are on replay, but we can show you up the grid. So let's see if it does show up. Here we go. There it is. There's the result for qualifying. It will be Brody Gunter in the pole position for race number 1. Jordan Probst in second, together with him on the front row. Then Brian Dees in P3. Dave Seats P4. Johnny Alford in P5. Rob Henry P6. Mike Pepper P7. Alex Howland P8. Joshua Rutherford P9. Rick Thompson P10. Jarrell Williams in P11, Dalton Kilroe in P12, and Calvin Levi in P13. Corey Rutherford in P14, ahead of Ken Estep in P15, and then in P16 is Nicholas Batista on the grid. So that is how the drivers will be lining up here for the race. Work what's that is a never ending winkle face in the chat. Yeah, well, some people do need to work. No, just to get everything back together. It is time now for the race. Qualifying has ended, and we're on to heat number 1, waiting for everyone to get onto the grid. Here we go. There's Dave Seats, Jordan Probst in P2. There's the guy. Brody Gunter P1, Jordan Probst P2, Brian Dees 3rd, 4 Dave Sage, Johnny Alford P5, Rob Henry P6, Mike Pepper 7th, 8 Alex Howland, 9 Joshua Rutherford 10th, Rick Thompson, Jarrell Williams in P11 out of Dalton Kilroe in P12, 13 for Calvin Levi, Corey Rutherford P14, Ken Estep in 15, and Nicholas Batista in P16. That's the grid for us. So we're now waiting for everything, for all proceedings to get underway. For Brody Gunter, for Calvin Levi, we're waiting to join the grid, and then we'll get underway. Yeah. There we go. There you have it, never ending wrinkle face. Some people do indeed need to work. And DK Racing is one of those people. Great to have you all here. Kevin Levi, the only driver waiting at the moment to get onto the grid. There's his empty spot. So let's wait for him to get onto the grid. The number 93 Mercedes. At the top of the field, we have a good mix. It's McLaren, BMW, Porsche, and McLaren, Porsche, Mercedes. So the first Mercedes in P9, and the first Aston Martin in P... or the first Mercedes in P8, the first Aston Martin in P9. There we go. Everyone is done gridding. Calvin Levi is onto the grid. So we're gonna have the 5 red lights. It's lights out, and away we go. It is a good start for Brody Gunter. Brian Dees is following him through with the McLaren of Dave Seeds. 20 minutes of racing at this track. It's a long run down into the real first braking zone. So it is going to be Brian Dees to the insides of Brody Gunter. Isn't going to make it. Rob Henry behind that is bunching up the rest behind him. Jordan Probst with a little bit of oversteer on the apex of the corner. Makes it through. So far, everyone got through that first complex corners quickly and cleanly. Joshua Rutherford is dropping down the order. Quicker than a pebble thrown in a pond. Jarrell Williams in P12 also trying to line the 64 Aston Martin up. He's going to go to the outside. A little bit of oversteer. The back kicks out when he gets some power. He's dropping back massively, the Aston Martin of Joshua Rutherford. Now gets passed, but a BMW gets up very high into that corner. Front though, still Brian Dees chasing down Brody Gunter in the front of the field. Dave Seeds in second in the McLaren. So far only Dave Seeds, Brody Gunter and Facundo Rago, the drivers that have won. Corey is in chat and he says same, still have an hour left to go. There we go. So some people still at work, but great to have you all here. Of course, you guys will know how this race went for me. This is still a question. For you unknown, for me, still a question. It gets up very high. Dave Seeds. But it's 2 seconds already for Brody Gunter at the front of the field. I love that Dees Nuts livery on Brian Dees' car. It's absolutely amazing. Battle's going on a little bit further back in the field. Donald Kilrow in the back of Pepper. This group is going to slipstream along 45.515 at the front of the field for Brody Gunter. So for him, proceedings are going well. This is indeed a timed race. People that are not familiar with how ASRL run their races, it is a 20-minute race 1 and a 40-minute race 2. In that 40-minute race 2, you will have to do a pit stop. Because with the limited fuel capacity, the drivers will not be able to make it to the end. For a second I thought Brody Gunter already was in pit lane, but posts another quickest lap time, 45.389, 45.953 for the driver behind, 45.580 for Dave Seeds, who's now got up to the back of Brian Dees. He's going to send it up the insides of turn 3. I don't think he is, doesn't look like it. Of course, this track, half of an oval, 3/4 of an oval ring, and you have a bit of an infield before we head back on to the oval. But the leader, Brody Gunter, still heading into the last corner. There he is, overstart finish now. Corey Rutherford has had something. He's dropping down the order massively. Something happened to Corey Rutherford in the McLaren. The number 5 is now P16. 48.8 for him last time round. So that's not what Corey does usually. His quickest lap time, 48.05 or 48.01, excuse me. So it was 8:10 slower that time round. Back up into P15, he moves up the inside in the background. You can see the one of the leaders coming through again, traffic. is something that is going to be massive in race 2, especially with this track being as short as it is. So looking at Calvin Levy and Joshua Rutherford, it's Calvin Levi back down to 12th in the Mercedes. Oh, there's a little look at the inside of turn 3. Can't quite make it. A slow corner turn 3. A better exit over Calvin Levi up the insides of the twisty corners. There's contact between the two. And there goes Calvin Levi off the track. It was Joshua Rutherford who was involved in that. Really didn't turn into the right-hander. And in one of the few corners that we have here on this track, it goes all wrong for Levi. He will probably go into pit lane early when that happens in race 2. Of course, no pit here in this race. No pit stop needed to be made. This is a battle too. This is Probst, Alfred and Henry involved in it. The McLaren of Henry in front, then is the BMW of Probst. Alfred in the Porsche, then it's the Porsche of Pepper behind that, and the Porsche of Kilrow in 8th. So the Porsches from P6 to 8, Linus Stern. These cars, all Linus Stern going down to turn 3. It is just a difficult track to overtake on, really, because it's not flat onto the oval, not completely. Indeed, like DK Racing says, so hard to pass. Indeed, it is a hard track to pass on, but not impossible, as we've just seen. Alfred up the inside of Probst, and he's now going to chase down on the McLaren ahead of him. However, the inside shown again for Probst. The better run out of the corner though for the Porsche now, and that is what is important. The Porsche behind that now with Pepper also having a look on the BMW down on the turn 3. They're all staying where they are. A little bit of a look there for Probst. Can't quite make it contact, and it all bunch up because the Tina effect behind. That makes it so that Dalton Kilrow in the Porsche loses a place to Rick Thompson, but where is he gone? Rick Thompson has gone off the track and he's lost multiple positions with that Pepper up the inside of Dalton Kilrow. DK Racing said it in the chat, it's such a hard track to pass on, but like we've seen so far, it's not impossible. Different lines possible through that oval. Take a high line for a better exit. Take a lower line for a shorter run through the banked corner. But still though, it is Dave Seeds trying to chase down Brody Günther. But 4.8 seconds seems like he's not going to catch that up again. Corey says, yeah, it takes a few laps to properly set up for a pass, which I don't think personally is a bad thing, that you have to set up the pass. It makes it so that it isn't very easy to pass, so you kind of have to think about it. But for someone like Brian Dees at the moment, it must be very frustrating on board with Brian. You can see how difficult it is. Difficult blinds also going onto the oval. It is Seeds ahead who chose for a bit of a better exit. Even with that slipstream, you can see it's really getting a lot. There you go, a little bit of a lift there to get the front in. And then down into turn 3. They kind of V off that corner, as we like to say. Rutherford goes past on Batista in the McLaren. Good pass for the 5 of Corey Rutherford. Had that incident a little bit earlier on. That dropped him down the order. Now though, however, the gap is 10.4 seconds for him to catch up. I think that was even a little bit of a wall touch there for Corey Rutherford. Might have touched the wall there. Might have touched the wall there. We don't know. It looked like it, at least behind that though. Nicholas Batista and Calvin Levi going side by side through the S's. They get through. It's a difficult corner to go through side by side deep though for the McLaren. It is going to give him a better exit, but is that going to be enough though for Batista? Yeah, Levi's dropping back. Here's the battle between the BMW of Williams and Aston Martin of Corey Rutherford, of Joshua Rutherford, excuse me, Corey Rutherford in the McLaren, of course. Levi's gotten past Nicholas Batista, but very quickly got undone. Ow, 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 ow. Nicholas Batista and Calvin Levi come into contact, and Calvin Levi is still standing there. Is he waiting for people to get past? Or what is Calvin Levi going to do? And there we go, gets underway again. He's already been lapped by most drivers. There is Rick Thompson in P9, and he has lapped the driver in P16. That's how small this track really is, how short this track really is. We're on lap number 15, and we're not even 12 minutes into this race. Brody Gunter, there he is, 6 seconds out of the seats. We could see the most amount of percentage lapped of the field in this race. Since this is one of the shortest tracks that we'll go to. So that is a possibility. However, we won't see that in this race. Brody Gunter has currently lapped up until P14, the number 66 of Ken Estrup, Rob Henry in the number 60, in the number 02, excuse me, and the 93 of Calvin Levi. All three of these drivers have been lapped by Brody Gunter and Dave Seeds. Brian Dees is also lapped, and Johnny Alford. These are all drivers that are quite far down. Brody Gunter, however, is dominating this race. In front of him now he has Nicholas Batista in the Aston Martin. Once again, a different line, staying very high is Brody Gunter, then cuts it down. It's half of a tire below that yellow line. You can see the difference in between driving lines of the driver in 13, Batista, and the driver in first, Gunter. Seems to always go too deep into that corner, or he just did it now to allow Brody Gunter through. Nicely done from Nicholas Batista to allow the room for the race leader to come through. This is something that a lot of drivers usually overlook. Corey Rutherford is the next up his list, however, he's about 9.3 seconds up the road for Brody Gunter. You can see the gap that he's already created to Batista behind him. See on the track map on the top right of your screen where every driver is, the number in the circle is the position that the driver is in, so you can see how big the gap is already between Brody Gunter and Dave Seeds. Johnny Alford, what has happened to Johnny? He's dropped down into P4. Dave Seeds has gotten past Brian Dees. So he's now chasing down to McLaren 1-2. Then it's 4 Porsches. And then it's a Mercedes. Then the BMW of Jordan Probst, then the BMW of Rick Thompson. This battle is heating up. 3 drivers involved in it. The props in the BMW, Thompson in the BMW, and the Mercedes up ahead. BMW in the middle of that is the BMW of Estep, who's allowing them all through. Where, however, is the BMW of Thompson going to make this pass? Oh, the Mercedes of Howland goes wide. That allows both of the BMWs to run through. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Really, really sad to see there for Howland. However, it was an unforced error. He was under pressure from the 2 BMWs behind. However, that was an unforced error. Joshua Rutherford in a battle with the BMW of Williams up ahead. So then, 3.5 minutes left here in this race. And Brody Gunter is still leading the way. Dave Seeds in second, ahead of Brian Dees in third. Dave Seeds is up 2 positions, biggest gainers in the field. Dalton Kilroe up 7 from where he started. Losers in the field is Rob Henry. He's down 8 positions. Terrible race for him. Everyone kind of creating their own gap now. This is a battle for the podium. Brian Dees and Johnny Alford. Is Johnny Alford going to be able to do anything in these last 2 minutes and 16 seconds? Doesn't look like it. He needs to gain the lot. Dees needs to have a bad exit out of some corner. But for the moment, it seems like Seats is going to have P2. Brian Dees is going to have P3. But Johnny Alford is going to try everything to get that P3 away from Dees. Thompson also on the back of Probst. Let's take a look at that battle. Rick Thompson, here he is. Both BMWs fighting away. 410s between, and it's still Thompson behind Probst. That just tells you once again how difficult it is to overtake at this track. But with the beautifully executed overtakes from some of these drivers, have been able to get past back onto start finish, onto the oval part. Depending on when he's going to cross the line. Brody Gunter is going to start the last lap. Also, the battle is now heating up between Johnny Alford and Brian Dees. One of the only battles we really still have on track. The Pennzoil Porsche against These Nuts liveried Porsche from Brian Dees. So where is Johnny Alford going to go? Is he going to go to the inside or keep the car on the outside for turn 3? He's definitely close enough to go for a move here on this last lap. Down the turn 3, where is he going to go for it? It's not the white flag lap, I don't think. Brody Gunter is going to cross the line with 0.00. It is the last lap. It is checkered flag and Brody Gunter wins another one. It is white flag, excuse me. I saw the checkered flag pop up top left. But it is indeed white flag lap now. So don't look at the timings. The timing is wrong. There's one more lap to go. Brody Gunter ahead of Dave Siege. Johnny Alford and Brian Dees though going at it for the podium. I thought he had a white flag in his hands, but it seems like everyone is coming to a stop. It is indeed the last lap. 21 thousandths of a second between Johnny Alford and Brian Dees. Rick Thompson came across the line too. Everyone has come across the line now. Well then, let's take a look at how Heat 1 went. Here is the result for the first race. 20 minutes around this track. About 24, 25 laps completed. Brody Gunter P1 out of Dave Seats in P2. Johnny Alford in P3. Brian Dees in P4. In the end, it is into the 100ths of a second between those two at the line. Dalton Kilroe in P5. Mike Pepper P6. Jordan Props P7. Rick Thompson P8. Alex Howland P9. Gerald Williams P10. Joshua Rutherford in P11. Corey Rutherford in P12. So both family members finishing. Linus Stern for Work in Progress Racing. Nicholas Batista in P13. Rob Henry P14. Canesta P15. And Calvin Levi in P16. Now we will have a warm-up. But as we know, usually in this warm-up, no drivers out on track. Three minutes 40 on the clock still for this session, but what a race you've seen. Let me know what you guys think in chat of that first race. What an amazing race we've seen. Like I said, 21,000 in the end, I think, between Dave Seats or between Brian Dees and the Porsche of Johnny Alford. Of course, Dalton Kilroe, the Porsche liveried with the Red Bull livery on it. As Gerald Williams has gone out on track. You can actually do some practice laps here with how short the track is, so I expect him to get about 3-4 laps in here. Of a well, a bit of a spinaroo coming out of the last corner. You can see the tire marks. Went through the Geico restart zone that is usually here for the NASCARs at Iowa Speedway, and when it got onto the painted surface, got a bit out of shape. Batista is out on track too, so all these drivers just warming up again. Of course, this warm-up session in between allows drivers to take a bathroom break or anything after the 20 minutes and then go into a 40-minute race. A reverse grid race though for race 2, 40 minutes. Gotta put everyone into a reversed. Corey says that finish between Brian and Johnny was amazing. They've been battling hard with each other all season. That's great to hear. Well, battling continues then here at Iowa Speedway. As we see Nicholas Batista No one's to the lap time so far. Nicholas Batista, however, I think will be the first one to manage that. Oh, he's gonna do the same as I think Jarrell Williams did earlier on. And he's gonna go around when he got his tires onto the Geico restart zone. Will he still set the lap time? No, he won't. So he will not have a lap time set in warm up. So then, in about 10 seconds time, it's time to go into race 2, which I'm looking forward to. 40 minutes with a pit stop. So then, let's take a look at this grid for the race. Brody Gunter ahead of Jordan Probst in this reverse grid. Brian Dees in third. Dave Seats 4. Johnny Alsford P5. Rob Henry P6. Mike Pepper P7. Alex Howland P8. Joshua Rutherford P9. And Rick Thompson P10. Ken Estep down on P15. But before we get there, let's do that. There we go. Jarrell Williams P11 ahead of Dalton Kilroe in P12. And then we have Calvin Levi in P13, Corey Rutherford P14, Ken Estep in P15, and Nicholas Batista in P16. That is the grid for you. The drivers are ready to go racing again. Brody Gunter at the back. Gets a good start. Calvin Levi at the front with a mediocre one. It is Rob Henry with an absolute flyer of a start. As we all heard it down in the turn 1, the outside there for Corey Rutherford on the Mercedes, on the Porsche of Dalton Kilroe. The Porsche is once again at the moment Linus third. It's not going to be broken up by Corey Rutherford. Mike Pepper on the outside of Brian Dees. Johnny Alford defending from Jordan Probst in the BMW behind him. But Calvin Levi leading the way then. Don't get fooled though by the timing tower on the left hand side. It says sometimes that drivers are going into pit lane. Well, they're not. That is because on the last corner, they drive across the pit entry. So that's why it takes the drivers as going into pit lane. Batista is dropping down. What has happened to him? He's gone into the wall at turn 1. He's going to be able to get going again. Yes, he is. Rick Thompson ahead of Ken Estep. He's fighting away with Alex Howland. Ken Estep in the BMW 4.3 behind him, so they have a little bit of a gap to play with. Well, however, Rob Henry in McLaren trying to bounce back from that race 1. However, Calvin Levi holding him back. The Mercedes goes wide, side by side through the SS. And both allow each other enough room. Almost went 4 tires over the white line, I think there, Levi. So that might have been a slowdown that he's got to take. Not the case though. He is slowing down though. I think it was one of a slowdown. Joshua Rutherford has got past, so has done Rob Henry. We have a new leader in the race, Gunter with a 45.705. Here he is in the back of the Porsche of Mike Pepper already. He's gone to the inside of turn 3 and he's going to get him. Brody Gunter's going to get him. Oh, it's so close there down turn 1. All pinch each other through the S's. Single file once again. Well done. Move, job done by Brody Gunter. And Mike Pepper has gone round in the Porsche. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Mike Pepper dropping all the way down to B14. Brody Gunter, what has happened to him? Nothing. This is just a fight going on here. I saw him drop down the timing towers quicker than an elevator at Trump Towers. But nothing happening really there to him. He's actually making moves up the order. That is what Brody Gunter is doing. Brody Gunter doing Brody Gunter things. Up ahead it is Joshua Rutherford and Jordan Props fighting for position. BMW of Props now has been overtaken by the McLaren of Rutherford, who will also look to bounce back from race 1. So then, coming up to complete lap number 5 for these drivers. They have completed lap number 5. Lap number 6 now, and Joshua Rutherford still ahead of the Mercedes of Howland. Put it into that. But what I wanted to say is ahead of the BMW of Probst. Brody Gunter and McLaren fending off Corey Rutherford. Expecting Corey Rutherford to try and want to follow Brody Gunter through the traffic and through these slower drivers. However, everyone of course allowed to fight since this is all for position. Because we had a reverse grid race, but it has allowed Rob Henry to take a commanding lead. "35 minutes left. We've had 5 minutes in this race. With these shorter laps, the time is flying. Difficult to overtake on this track, but not difficult to come back through the field for some reason for Brody Gunter. He's making everything work. He's now making a pass on Joshua Rutherford too. The outside shot though, don't get onto the grass too much because you will lose position, and that is exactly what has happened now. Jordan Probst in the BMW has gotten past again. Over the inside for Brody Gunter. Don't spin on the exit there. The inside is not the position you want to have going into this corner. Therefore, he's going to allow the BMW through. Allow the BMW to kind of get a V. Get a V off that corner. Brody Gunter only needs to gain 6 more positions to get back up to where he was in race 1. Has been keeping up quite well. Calvin Levi, of course, he had a blinder of his start at the front, but he finished P12 or P13 in race 1, and he's now P2. It says up 11. That's not correct. So it says 11. That is not correct. This is what they're up from the qualifying position. Of course, we had a reverse grid, so I don't know how much you can take that into account, really. Kevin Levi dropped down out of position now. Dalton Kilroe in the Porsche has gotten past. Behind though, it's 2 BMWs going at it. The low line now taken by Jarrell Williams. And he's going to get past with that. He has the high line available too, but he's not going to take it. Jordan Probst is losing a lot of speed here. Brody Gunter is now on the back of him to pick him off too. To the inside though goes Jordan Probst in that Turner liveried BMW. Pushes the BMW of Jarrell Williams wide and allows Brody Gunter to get through. What has happened to Brian Dees though? Something has happened to Brian Dees, did it not? No, it has not. That was a timing tower glitch. I thought for a second Brian Dees was off the track somewhere. Luckily for him, though, that was not the case, and he can continue. Jordan Props now under pressure from a man who we know is quick behind him, but also trying to pressurize the Mercedes of Levi himself. Maybe the luck for Levi is the fact that the McLaren is coming up behind him. However, Levi not loving this track so far. Goes too deep into turn 3, allows Props to, as now Brody Gunter all over him, with Calvin Levi slowing them all up. This has allowed Charles Williams, Dave Seeds and Brian Dees to all come back into it. Kevin Levi going to take a higher line onto the banking, but so far it seems like Gunter is not able to really catch up to him. Oh, the BMW behind that of Charles Williams, I think, touched the wall on the exit of 2. That's going to do some good damage to the tyres. Calvin Levi going up the inside. Jordan Props are fighting it. Sorry, with Brody Gunter. Jordan Props is up the road, of course. He overtook him last lap. And exactly the same corner contact though between Dave Seeds and Calvin Levi. And Dave Seeds gets off worse. He spins all the way around and has to continue in P10. It's not how he wanted it, but he's now going to try and get back through the field. Brody Gunter, I thought for a second I'd done something too, but that was just once again a timing glitch. Brody Gunter P4 now has overtaken Williams. Is on the charge, 3.5 seconds now to Props ahead of him. And another 3.3 from Props to Kilrow, but Props is closing that gap down like there's no tomorrow. Props wants that P1 as soon as possible, and he's absolutely gunning it. Here is Jordan Props in the BMW. Not his best race one, but it's there now. Brody Gunter, even though Jordan is catching up to Kilrow ahead of him, is catching up to him to Jordan Props too. So that's a scary prospect, let's put it like that, for the two drivers at the front. Because there's 3 tenths in between it, between Dalton Kilrow and Rob Henry. Both of these drivers haven't won a race yet, but a race win is too early to talk about. Down the inside goes Dalton Kilrow, has a little bit of a look, but can't make it stick. Is all over the road, really, all over the back of Henry. He's almost pushing him through the S's. Both drivers taking a more shallow line out through that Geico restart paint to minimize the risk of you spinning out there. It's 1.7 seconds to Props behind. So both of them catching up, and I think it's not long before Props is onto the back of Kilrow and Henry. Especially if Henry at the front of it keeps making mistakes. 4 tires over the white line there for Kilrow. Has a look at the inside though. Not all fair. 4 tires were over the white line. However, that has brought the gap down to about 1.1 to Props behind.
The
DK Racing, so Dalton Kilroe Racing, for the people who don't know who DK Racing is in chat, so you can identify some of the drivers out on track. He says I was getting really frustrated there, and I can see why now. Henry putting that car in places, so Dalton Kilroe just can't get past. Had a little bit of a look up the inside of turn 3, but couldn't make it stick. On the 41, 6.5 minutes away, a little bit more from halfway distance. 17 laps completed now into lap number 18. And Probst is in the back of Kilroe. Now it's not going to be easy for Probst to overtake here, even though Kilroe has been stuck behind Henry for so long. And Dalton Kilroe has some overspeed on Henry, and still he isn't able to overtake. A really tight line there from the McLaren. That doesn't allow Kilroe to get that comeback through the S's. And a little bit of a look at the inside once again, but Henry just putting that McLaren in places where Dalton Kilroe just can't get past, making that McLaren as wide as possible. But now he loses 2 places at once. The top 3 covered within 0.2 of a second, 1/10 of a second. Now we're 3 wide on the oval momentarily there. Dalton Kilroe though gets past. So does Probst, and Henry, instead of losing that 1 position to Kilroe, loses 2 in a row. Kilroe, however, might not hang on to that lead for long. He has the Turner BMW up the inside of him, and Probst gets past. He could have that lead for about 4 or 5 corners, did Kilroe, and then Probst took it away from him, caught up 2 seconds, and now on the back. Look at that, Brody Gunther. This is not going to take long for Brody Gunther, I can tell you that much. On board with the McLaren driver. So then, front row seats to this battle up ahead, but also promising seats, because this is allowing him to catch up. Look at what he caught up there in that braking zone. That was easily 3/4 that he caught up there. Lots of 4-letter words were being said here. I saw red. Well, I can see why, but in the end, he didn't manage to get past. And you can see how easily Jordan Probst did it in the end. Didn't take him long to get past 2 cars. But there's traffic in the way now, which is allowing Dr. Kilroe to catch back up with the BMW. The turn the BMW off Jordan Probst. Understeer for the BMW. Very much tighter for Porsche. Is going to pull to the outside, cutting back into the bank part. Is he going to get it? Yes, he is. Dalton Kilroe back up into the race. That's also because Jordan Probst is into pit lane. Just before halfway distance, Jordan Probst decides to pit. Decides to roll the dice and pit early. Behind that, Joshua Rutherford also pitting. Cars drops from the jacks, and underway goes Jordan Probst again. Yeah, let me know what you were thinking during this race, especially if you're in primaries in chats, because always interested to know about what you were thinking during the race. And at the time that something was happening, Brian Dees in the battle with Dave Seeds. It's not the first time these two have been fighting. Brody Gunther now catching up to Kilroe ahead of him. 22 minutes remaining here. A little bit more than a sprint race. And then we'll know who will take victory in race 2. Real battle we have had on track is Gerald Williams, the BMW behind the Aston Martin of Rutherford. That battle has gone out to 8-10s, of course, which is back to Seats and Brian Dees. They have some traffic to contend with up ahead. That traffic pulling into pit lane though. Seats goes past Dees. Brian Dees is going to drop down, however, that Porsche holding the outside, which is the quicker line, technically on the exit of the corner, staying high for really long, and that is too long for Brian Dees. Going to get the better exit out of the oval part, but the oval part not long enough really to make a stride forward with that extra speed you've got. Technically, there's been about 100 meters, 150 meters that has been taken away from the oval part. And that leads down at the turn 3 into the twisty sections of turn 4, 5, 6, and 7. We get back out onto the oval again. This battle leading up though, Seats, once it gets past the Mercedes of Levi up ahead. Levi is in the middle of this battle now and he's hit. Oh God. Oh God. This is messy up ahead. Kilrow into the pits, the McLaren goes into, that's the McLaren of Henry, former race leader. You can imagine some 4-letter words being said there too. And not one of them. Because that traffic was annoying Calvin Levi. He has, however, still has to make that pit stop. Brian Dees, P3 exactly where he was at the finish of last race. Brody Gunter up to P1. Dave Seats is up 2 though. So he finished last time round 2. A little bit less than a sprint race left now, 18.5 minutes. Only real battle out on track at the minute is the battle for last position. Alex Howland on the back of Batista. But pit stops have been made already by these guys. So the gap is going to close down a bit. Of course, with a pit stop, you could use almost a whole lap here. Pit stops that they make though, about 11 to 12 seconds long. So you're not going to lose a lap with that. You're going to lose 1/4 of a lap, which is usually the average amount at every other track if you have a normal pit stop. Alex Howland has been unleashed to catch up to Levi ahead of him. Both Mercedes are struggling, it seems like, this this race. Corey Rutherford on the, has been chased down by Williams. So, closest gap we have at the minute is the 6/10 gap at the front of the pack between Alfred and Dees. Then it's this battle, trying to keep this within a second. Rutherford in the Aston Martin being caught up by Rutherford's trying to catch up to Henry himself. A lot of drivers now into pit lane to complete that one and only pit stop that they need to do. Usual pit stop time, like I just said, about 12 to 13 seconds. That is a normal pit stop. Anything over that, you're losing time. Dalton Kilroy overtakes Brian Dees, who's gone into pit lane. Or who's coming out of pit lane now. Excuse me. There he is, follows the blue cone, and now he can go back onto the track. And he's dropped back down to P8 after that pit stop. Brody Gunther in the lead though. He's overtaken up to P12. He's put them all on the lap. So crazy to think about that, really. Brody Gunther is wringing the neck of this machine, and he hasn't only been doing that for 1 week. No, he's been doing that consistently. So then, when is Brody Gunther going to pit? Any guesses? If you're not a driver, a bit of a trivia question. When do you think Brody Gunther is going to come into pit lane? When or when? Because the longer you can keep going, the better it'll be. You don't want to be out in traffic. Also, Ken Estep in the BMW still needing to make a pit stop. There he is. Just been overtaken by Corey Rutherford. So he's struggling. Here's Dave Seeds, the driver in P2, 6.7 back on Brody Gunther. Dalton Kilroy, our previous leader. He's about 20 seconds away. 25 seconds. There we go, Seeds and Alfred into pit lane, now for real. This is not just a timing glitch, these drivers are for real into pit lane now. Brody Gunther, however, still continuing. "35 laps completed." I think this is going to be the most laps completed, really. And into pits goes Brody Gunther. A good in lap from the American. So where is he going to fit out? Pepper's going to get the lead. Is Thompson going to come through, or is he going to make a pit stop too? No, he is going to get through. So the two drivers at the top at the minute still needing to make a pit stop. Excuse me. Probst is at the moment the provisional leader, and he goes past Gunter. Kilroy's trying to catch up to. He's now getting up to speed. But Kilroy's got to be passed. This is a crucial moment in the race. Brody Gunter still needs to pass Kilroy and Probst on track. Else, we're going to have a new race winner. Only the 4th though. In about 21 races we've done now, with this concluded 24, or 22, excuse me. He's catching up quick though, is Brody Gunter. So then, across the line to complete another lap for Brody Gunter. Gone past Pepper, he's now finally made his pit stop. And he's still in pit lane. That's a long pit stop for Pepper. Longer than any usual ones. He was in the pit lane for 50 seconds. Usual pit lane time, 43 seconds. Longer stop there. However, seats all on the back of Johnny Alford. He got past them in race 1. Why can they not do it again in race number 2? It is Rick Thompson who still needs to make a pit stop. At the front of the field now. 9 minutes and 40 seconds to go. Jordan Probst has been unleashed into the lead. Brody Gunter in 2nd, or Brody Gunter in 3rd, chasing down Dalton Kilroy. And Rick Thompson finally making that one and only pit stop. Went really far into this race, really deep into this race before doing so. In the end, also he needs to make that pit stop. It would kind of be crazy driving this track in an endurance race. So that's good why we don't have like 3 or 4 hour races, because you would complete what, about 500 laps in that time period with how short it is. So then there's a battle for P2. Brody Gunter in the back of Kilroy. I know that Dalton is in chat. So Dalton, let us know, what are you thinking at this point in time when you have someone like Brody Gunter behind you and someone who hasn't won a race ahead of you? Are you hoping that the inexperienced driver with winning this season is going to get the better of him and that he's going to make a mistake at the front for Probst? Or are you happy to stay in 2nd and just fend off from Gunter as Gunter goes off? All that hard work coming undone. Luckily for him, though, he had a little bit of a gap to Seeds behind him. About 10 seconds. That has come down to about 6.3 now with that spin, or with that half spin from Brody Gunter. That has allowed Kilroe to run away with stuff here, and so is the same for Probst. Or 0.1 second between Alfred and Seeds. They're so close, they're virtually bumping each other into the wall. But it's the McLaren that gets ahead of the Porsche. Yeah, I've had the same thing, DK Racing, during the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Luckily, however, I was on a straight and I had a stream screen set up, so I could kind of watch the screen where I had my stream preview. So that was quick thinking, but yeah, it's annoying when you get a black screen, because technically you can't see anything anymore really for what, like 2, 3, maybe 4 seconds. That can cause either some very dangerous situations, but also some unlucky situations where, of course, Gunter lost huge amounts of time because he couldn't see anything before the rest wasn't the case. So then the rest, of course, has an unfair advantage. Something like a failure with a sensor that slows the car down for like a good 5-6 seconds before you can put in that fault code to get that warning and that sensor deactivated so you can pick up speed again. That's what you can kind of see it as in the real world. However, John Alfred is not done here. Johnny Alfred is going to try and go past Dave Seeds here. Is he going to manage though? Because Dave Seeds has been proving to be quick here this whole race. There's some traffic up ahead. Corey Rutherford. With that too, it is Rick Thompson and Henry who are together on track. Rob Henry. Once again, 4 tires over the white line there. Don't know if the driver's going to slow down for that, but you know, if you look at it this way, they should. Alfred is dropping back slowly but surely on Seeds. Catches up a lot though through the apex of that corner, but then the exit is terrible. However, traffic coming into play here. The Mercedes going off of Levi. Where are you going, sir, in the 93? Oh, a bit of a snap there by coming back on. Only 3 and a bit more minutes left in this race. Jordan Probst has done everything he needed to do so far. Will we see a new race winner with Jordan Probst in the BMW? That Turner Motorsports liveried BMW. Will it see a victory here at ASRL? Kind of looks like a Bilstein livery if you look at it quickly. So this is a livery that Turner Motorsports have been running for a long time now in the real world. Probst is doing it a favor with being at the front here by about 5.6 seconds on Kilroe. Dalton had a chance of winning it. At this point, Dalton, since you are in chat, did you still feel you could win it with a 5.6 second gap, or did you know that it was going to be consolidated P2 and make sure you don't make any mistakes that Brody Gunter can catch up? Interested to know. Because he knows how the race is going to finish. Of course, we don't. Mike Pepper closing up on Brian Dees. The Porsches, the 3 almost line is there. Brody Gunter and Dave Seeds in between that. 2 McLarens. And it's actually Dave Seeds who's attacking Brody Gunter. He got 1.3 on Johnny Alford after he's overtaken him. Five tenths. Can he get up into the podium? Dave Seeds trying to attack the championship leader. Is he going to be able to finish ahead of him? It's his closest championship rival, so if he does, that will be massive for the championship, of course. So then, full answer. Knew it was over when I lost so much time behind the O2. With the O2, he means Rob Henry. Had a good gap back to the guys and was racing at the end, and lost like 6+ seconds on track because of how hard it was to pass. Hence the high frustration. Started to gain a bit the last few laps, but wasn't enough. So there we go, we can see that in effect now, 4.2 seconds. Probably Jordan will get the white flag this time round, and he will. White flag, last lap. White flag in the area at Iowa Speedway. Last lap for Jordan Probst. Will that Turner Motorsport BMW see the victory? Or will it be Kilroe who will get back up to Jordan Probst? The gap seems too big to do that. Seats, however, is all over the back of Brody Gunter. Both McLarens fighting for that also important podium. Gunter, is he going to get it? Is he going to be Seeds up the inside? He has a little bit of a look. There's almost contact between the two, but Seeds gets through on Brody Gunter. And it is going to be Jordan Probst who's going to take victory. Only the 4 different winners. Jordan Probst is a race winner in the ASRL series with that Turner Motorsport liveried BMW. Dalton Kilroe gets through in second, and Dave Seeds gets through in third ahead of Brody Gunter. That happened on the last lap. We also saw Johnny Alford in P5. 3 tenths in between those drivers, but what a race in this man, what a drive. At Turner Motorsport, a BMW liveried finally sees a victory in the hands of Probst. Only the 4th different winner. But what a race. Let's take a look then at how that exactly ended. Here we have it. Jordan Probst ahead of Dalton Kilroe and Dave Seeds in P3. Brody Gunter P4 and Johnny Alford in P5, while Jordan Probst is in victory lane. Probably going to do some donuts. Mike Pepper in P7, behind Brian Dees in P6, Rick Thompson P8, Rob Henry P9, Joshua Rutherford P10, Corey Rutherford's P11, P12 for Jarl Williams, Calvin Levi P13, Alex Howland P14, Ken Esteb in P15, and Nicholas Batista in P16. Meanwhile, in the background, it is Jordan Probst struggling to do some donuts. Probably got too much ABS and traction control on that car. However, this has been it for round number 11. So Jordan Probst finally sees that checkered flag first. What a drive from Jordan. I will see you next week, normal time, not in a replay, live with all the action. Until then, stay safe and we'll see you there. Bye bye.